Well, we now have Patrick Amimo back. And Amimo, before we broke earlier on, you were just giving us an update on that grilling that happened today. Perhaps Kenyans would want to know what sort of direction are we likely to see this issue going now that Parliament has had the CS, and it's been a controversial topic in the country.
This Parliament, the National Assembly Committee on Agriculture, is the one mandated to at least oversight and see what happens when it comes to ministries, undertakings, or any other institutions that fall under agriculture. That's why it was very critical to have the Cabinet Secretary to come on board and explain the saga surrounding this import. Remember when the maize landed at the port of Mombasa last week, Friday, 29,000. People asked how possible was it that after the lifting, KRA lifted that maize importation, the ship was able to travel all the way from Mexico to Nairobi, to Mombasa within that short period of 3 days. So the Cabinet Secretary did try to explain himself and said that a notice was issued on April 13th. Yeah. So he feels that it was enough period. He saying that if there was any serious businessman out there, then he would have taken advantage of having seen that Gazette notice to import the maize. But it's like he was not able to convince members of Parliament. The other issue that was of concern is how the government arrived at this idea to sell that 2 kg packet at 90 shillings. Yeah. Because the price had risen to 147 or 150 thereabouts. And the CS told the committee that they had gone to the millers, and millers told them that to be able to reduce the price to 90 shillings, they are producing it at between 4,200 and 4,900. So if the government wants to reduce the maize flour to 90 shillings, then they have to be subsidized. So it means that the government is now forking 1,300 to subsidize the millers. So what the price the government has set is 3,600. So if you add that 3,600, they are giving private millers an extra 1,300. So as for the millers to make at least to get at 4,900 in order for a Kenyan to buy that maize at 90 shillings. So in essence, it's like the government is paying, millers are buying the stock at 4,900, yet from a local farmer, the government is willing to give 3,600. And this is the matter that really brought controversy last time in December when we saw farmers in North Rift demand that they be paid 3,200 for the 90 kg bag. And at that time, the government was saying the maximum it could pay for the farmers was 2,400. That's why I think there was a reluctance from local farmers to sell their produce to the government, and they withheld the stock in their local stores. And that's the matter that has emerged, that there are local farmers, especially those large-scale farmers, who are holding maize stock in their stores and they're yet to release it to the government. And through this, maybe the government feels that if now they can buy it at 3,600, more stock will come from there locally to fill the gap.
And lastly, Amimo, and let's keep it brief, perhaps with these developments in these maize imports from Mexico, the ordinary Kenyan basically would like to see the issue come out clean. And of course, at the end of the day, for them, it's more about having availability of the crop and the maize packet at the end of the day. How sustainable is this approach that the government has taken towards subsidizing the food imports that we continue to receive?
There was at least an issue about the Gazette notice that the minister did give out, because it's open-ended. So it can allow importers to bring their maize stock to the country, and without, in fact, it's not specifying the quantity. So the members are very concerned that it should not be an open check, because doing so, it will allow private millers to flood our markets with the imported maize, and we need to protect farmers. And as we are discussing now, there's also a bill in the House in Parliament which is being discussed to protect local consumers against these particular imports. So it's upon the government to ensure that they don't discourage farmers from doing their business. They should encourage them. We've seen at least efforts to subsidize fertilizer, but the farmers continue complaining that the cost of farm inputs is still high, because you have to look at diesel and other things on the labor force. So it's a tall order, but the government maybe will be putting measures in place to see if it can really have it
sorted out.
Yeah, sorted out.
All right. Many thanks there, Patrick Amimo. Looking forward to your story at 9 p.m. Of course, you'll be getting more details on that developing story. That has been our Patrick Amimo, senior reporter here at KTN News.